Okay, so I want to look fairly closely at this section about Adam and Eve. It is really important to setting up what we'll see with the fall and their relationship in Book 9. Um, it starts in about line 610, and what we have for about 20 lines is Adam talking to Eve, telling her basically that everything in the garden, everything in creation is ordered, and that everything is at ease except for them. They have work that they need to do. It's their job to tend the garden, and so they must rest at night because there is a lot of work to be done in the morning. And so then Eve's response begins in line 634, right? To whom thus Eve, with perfect beauty adorned, and she speaks, right? My author, and she's speaking to Adam. My author and disposer, what thou biddest, unargued, I obey. So God ordains. God is thy law, thou mine. To know no more is woman's happiest knowledge and her praise. So here is set up this very important hierarchy that God administers law, wisdom, purpose, order to the man, who then administers it to the woman. And so the woman then serves the man, and the man serves God, and that this is the created hierarchy. Um, and she says that it's woman's happiest knowledge, and to her praise, right? That if she just does this, and again, this is going to sound, I mean, that sounds really misogynistic to us, and sort of out of date. But this was uh, it is the order that is essentially established in the book of Genesis, and was certainly applied by the Puritans, right? She continues, and she says to Adam, with thee conversing, I forget all time, all seasons, and their change, all please alike. Sweet is the breath of morn, her rising sweet, with charm of earliest birds. Pleasant the sun, when first on this delightful land he spreads his orient beams, on herb, tree, fruit, and flower, glycerine with dew. Fragrant the fertile earth after soft showers, and sweet the coming on of grateful evening mild. Then silent night with all this her solemn bird, and this fair moon, and these the gems of heaven, her starry train. But neither breath of morn, when she ascends with charm of earliest birds, nor rising sun on this delightful land, nor herb, fruit, flower, glycerine with dew, nor fragrance after showers, nor grateful evening mild, nor silent night with this her solemn bird, nor walk by moon, or glittering starlight without thee is sweet. But wherefore all night long shines these, for whom this glorious sight, when sleep hath shut all eyes? So she says, look at all these wonderful, beautiful things. None of these are wonderful, beautiful things without you. It's a very sweet love poem. And then she ends it with a question. Why is there light at night, the moon, the stars, when there's no one there to look at them? What is the point, in other words, of beauty if there's no one to appreciate it? To whom our general ancestor replied in line 660, this is Adam, right? Daughter of God and man, accomplished Eve. Those have their course to finish round the earth by morrow evening, and from land to land in order, though to nations yet unborn, ministering light prepared, they set and rise. Everything is ordered. Everything has a purpose, even for things that have not yet come. He's basically saying, look, there are nations that haven't even been seen or described yet on different parts of the globe which need this light. Let total darkness, lest total darkness should by night regain her old possession and extinguish life in nature and all things, which these soft fires not only enlighten, but with kindly heat of various influence foment and warm, temper or nourish, or in part shed down their stellar virtue on all kinds that grow on earth, made hereby apter to receive perfection from the sun's more potent ray. Well, um, they didn't have a great understanding of biology, but basically he's saying, oh, there needs to be some light. If there's total darkness, then death will follow that, right? These then, though unbeheld in deep of night, shine not in vain, nor think, though men were none, that heaven would want spectators, God want praise. Even without us, there would be plenty of others to appreciate this beauty and to give God praise. Millions, he says in line 677, millions of spiritual creatures walk the earth unseen, both when we wake and when we sleep. Spirits, angels. He's not clear. All these with ceaseless praise his works behold both day and night. How often from the steep of echoing hill or thicket have we heard celestial voices to the midnight air, soul or responsive each to other's notes, singing their great Creator. Often bands while they keep watch, or nightly rounding walk with heavenly touch of instrumental sounds in full harmonic number joined, their songs divide the night and lift our thoughts to heaven. Thus talking hand in hand alone, they passed on into their blissful bower. So this is a conversation that they're having as they go into their love nest, right? So there's a description here of their marriage bed. It was a place chosen by the sovereign planter when he framed all things to man's delightful use. The roof of thickest covert was inwoven shade, laurel and myrtle, and what higher grew of firm and fragrant leaf, on either side acanthus, and each odorous bushy shrub fenced up the verdant wall. Each beauteous flower, iris all hues, roses and jessamine, reared high their flourished heads between, and wrought mosaic underfoot the violet, crocus, and hyacinth with rich inlay broidered the ground, more colored than with stone of costliest emblem. Other creature here, beast, bird, insect, or worm, durst enter none. So this is established by God with every beautiful flower and fragrant flower. It is a covert place, and nothing goes in here except for them. Such was their awe of man. In shadier bower, more sacred and sequestered, though but feigned, Pan or Sylvanus never slept, nor nymph nor faunus hunted. Here, in close recess, with flowers, garlands, and sweet-smelling herbs, espoused Eve decked first her nuptial bed, and heavenly choirs of the Hymenean sung what day the genial angel to our sire brought her in naked beauty more adorned, more lovely than Pandora, whom the gods endowed with all their gifts. And oh, to like and sad event, when the unwiser son of Japhet brought by Hermes, she ensnared mankind with her fair looks, to be avenged on him who had stole Jove's authentic fire. Thus at the shady lodge arrived, both stood, both turned, and under open sky adored the God that made them both. Sky, air, earth, heaven, which they beheld, the moon's resplendent globe and starry pole. And then there is an interesting prayer that takes place from lines 724 to 735. Thou also madest the night, Maker omnipotent, and thou the day which we in our appointed work employed have finished, happy in our mutual help and mutual love, the crown of all our bliss ordained by thee, in this delicious place for us too large, where thy abundance wants partakers, and uncropped falls to the ground. But thou hast promised from us to our race to fill the earth, who shall with us extol thy goodness infinite, both when we wake and when we seek as now thy gift of sleep. So that's their bedtime prayer of thanksgiving to God. Also blessing their sexual union and their procreativity, right? And they said this prayer together, and it is a spontaneous prayer, as noted in the footnote, right? This said, unanimous, and other rites observing none. In other words, they're Protestants, they're not Catholics, so they're not doing a lot of this kind of nonsense, right? And I say nonsense, right, according to, um, not according to me necessarily, but according to um, the puritanical view, right? They're not doing a lot of this kind of stuff. They're not, um, you know, saying Hail Marys or any of these kinds of things. It is a spontaneous, intimate outpouring prayer, which is what the Puritans advocated for. It was adoration pure, which God likes best. Into their inmost bower handed they went, and eased the putting off these troublesome disguises which we wear. Straight side by side were laid, nor turned, I ween, Adam from his fair spouse, nor Eve the rites mysterious of connubial love refused. So they have sex. And it's easy because they're already naked and there's no sin, so they're not ashamed to look at each other. Whatever hypocrites austerely talk of purity and place and innocence, defaming as impure what God declares pure and commands to some, leaves free to all. This is an argument for sex. One of the one of the major differences between the Puritans and the Catholics was their view on sex. Um, and this is an interesting argument for the purpose of sex. That there is pleasure in it, and there is procreation in it, and that it's not something to be shied away from if it's done within the proper context, right? And this is a response to, I think, a lot of what we saw in the, in writings like Margery Kempe or Julian of Norwich and others, where sex, even within marriage, is viewed as somehow, I mean, dirty is such a unsophisticated word, but that's the idea, right? That it's sinful almost even in marriage. That, you have someone like Margery Kempe who feels like in order to be close to God, she has to no longer be engaged in sex with her husband, right? So this is an interesting argument for sex that's made here, right? So to continue on with this 748, right? Our maker bids increase, who bids abstain, but our destroyer, foe to God and man. Only Satan wants abstinence. And again, we're talking about within marriage here, because God wants increase. He wants us to make more people to praise him. Hail, wedded love, mysterious law, true source of human offspring, sole propriety and paradise of all things common else. By thee adulterous lust was driven from men among the bestial herds to range. By thee, founded in reason, loyal, just, and pure relations dear, and all the charities of father, son, and brother first were known. Right? You can't have adulterous lust if you have a free and vigorous sex life in your marriage. Far be it that I should write thee sin or blame, or think thee unbefitting holiest place perpetual fountain of domestic sweets, whose bed is undefiled and chaste, pronounced present or past, as saints and patriarchs used. Here love his golden shafts employs, here lights his constant lamp, and waves his purple wings, reigns here and revels, not in the bought smile of harlots, loveless, joyless, unendeared, casual fruition, nor in the court amours, mixed dance or wanton mask or midnight ball or serenade, which the starved lover sings to his proud fair, best quieted with disdain. These lulled by, right? In other words, not those things. Courtly romance, debauchery, um, um, harlots and whores and prostitution and rape and um, one night stands and these kinds of things. Not that stuff. These, lulled by nightingales, embracing slept, and on their naked limbs the flowery roof showered roses, which the morn repaired. Sleep on, blessed pair, and oh, yet happiest, if ye seek no happier state, and know to know no more. So that is the relationship between Adam and Eve. And then what we find right after that is Satan in line 800, squat like a toad close at the ear of Eve, essaying by his devilish art to reach the organ of her fancy, her brain, her imagination, and with them forge illusions as he list phantasms and dreams, or if, inspiring venom, he might taint the animal spirits that from pure blood arise, like gentle breaths from rivers pure, thence raise at least distempered, discontented thoughts, vain hopes, vain aims, inordinate desires, blown up with high conceits, engendering pride. So he's whispering all this stuff in the ear of Eve, and this sounds just like what happens uh, in in the Fairy Queen when Archimagos sends the spirits to them, right, to Una and Red Cross as they sleep. And then just to end this section, to bring us back to where we were, I love line 810 as Satan is whispering all this stuff in the ear of Eve, thinking that he is unbeseen in the shape of a toad. Line 810 is so great. Him thus intent, that is not paying any attention, he's so intent on what he's doing, Ithuriel with his spear touched lightly. And when he's touched with the spear of Ithuriel, he pops back to his true form because it is a spear of truth and revealing, right? And so he's in the shape of a toad squatting there whispering. He's so intent he doesn't even hear Ithuriel come walking up on him, and as soon as he touches him with the spear, pops out into his regular form, and that's when he has his confrontation with Gabriel. It is such a wonderful book, book 4, because it sets up so many things, the contrast between hell and paradise, the parallels between Satan and Adam and Eve, and the relationship between Adam and Eve, this hierarchy that they have, becomes really, really important when we look at Book 9 and who is responsible for all of the problems that ensue.